Hi, I'm Kim McCord. I'm at New York University in New York City, and I'm pleased to share with you just a little bit of insight into these different special music education courses that some of us teach, and some strategies of what to do when you are in a university that does not offer a special music education course, and how others have found ways to cover those gaps in instruction. So we'll look at different syllabi from people that I've asked to share with me, and we'll look at their content, specifically what do they teach each week, what do they focus on, any kind of clinical experiences, which might include going out to a local school and teaching or observing, or having students or musicians come to the university where they can observe or teach them at school. And then kind of comparing the course in special music education with other ways that people are infusing special music education across the music ed curriculum. And we'll also look at some kind of innovative assignments that people are doing, or what I call cool ideas of things that folks are doing that I really like a lot and I might steal. So, how did all of this begin? In the late 60s, Dr. Betty Welsbacher, who's at Wichita State University in Kansas, created the first standalone music education program. And she was even thinking beyond a course, but was thinking about a bachelor's degree in special music education, which still exists and thrives at Wichita State. There's also a master's of music ed, a certificate in special music education. And Elaine Bernstorf is now sitting in the chair that Betty once sat in, and is expertly chairing the programs there at Wichita and teaching most of them. And here is what the courses require in terms of courses, and you can see how they're scheduled in the curriculum there. But Wichita State is also joined by SUNY Potsdam, the Crane School of Music, which has a concentration in special education. So sort of like the certificate, the master's certificate. But this is on the bachelor's program, and a student can elect to do an additional concentration where they take these additional courses. So let's look at some syllabi, and I asked Elaine Bernstorf to share one of hers, and she sent several syllabi from the different special music ed courses they offer. But this one is music for special education, and you can see the topics that she covers. And her cool idea to me is this assignment that she's created called Knowledge, Becoming an Expert. So essentially, she has a lot of topics and types of disabilities in a hat, and she lets the students pull one out, and they can trade if they want to. But that becomes something that they're going to research in depth and really learn about and be able to teach others. And so essentially the student submits an annotated bibliography, and you can see the things that are required to be in that bibliography. Jennifer Thomas teaches at Western Illinois University, and her course is called Music for the Learner with Exceptionalities. And Jennifer is really great at explaining things clearly, and she does a very nice job with explaining models of disability. And I've had her speak in my classes about the models, and I really appreciate her style of being very gentle but firm, that this is what we need to do to be more accepting of people who are different and have different needs than some of the rest of us. And her cool idea is taking all of the assignments that she's assigned and creating a semester synthesis project or paper. And all of the 5 assignments that she had, they talk about what they learned from it and so forth, and turn that into her. And I think that that's a really wonderful way to kind of assess if the students learned what you hope they did. I like that idea. So here I am. I teach this course in a lot of different places. I've been teaching it online, and next fall I'm going to teach it at New York University. But I've been doing it at the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut for 3 years now, and I'll go back and continue. And here's what my topics look like. Very traditional, very disability of the week kind of organization. I need to change. I am really inspired by some of these syllabi that I've been looking at. But what I do that I do think is kind of cool is that I find a way for all the students in my class to get to know and to teach somebody who has a disability. And this really helps because it helps to eliminate fear and really it's a different way of teaching. We all know this. It's a different way of teaching when we've been sort of given method books and learned in our classes that we teach instruments from method books and everybody learns the same way and so forth. But instead, we want students to know that we have to differentiate instruction and make sure that everybody's included in the way that they learn best. So my students work with musicians. They also write an arrangement of a song that the musician has chosen. The teacher doesn't choose, the musician chooses, but the teacher also helps the musician to choose a song that will work good for the band that they're playing in. The reflections that I do every week are scaffolded from very basic kinds of observations of what the student or the musician knows and is able to do the first week, to some pretty thought-provoking questions towards the end. And we do a concert, but part of doing the concert is preparing the musician to feel comfortable at the concert, to know what to expect, and in some cases to let them know that the graduate student that I teach will be there to support them should they need it. But what we really strive for is independent musicianship. And since all of my musicians come to the university with their family or their parent, it's a great opportunity for my students to get to know the family and to have another perspective of what their musician is like. and what they care about. So collaboration is really important, and here you can see a concert where my students and the musicians are together on stage. I really love to have special ed and music ed students working together. This is something that I developed with my course at Illinois State University. And in this way, both can write goals for the next week. So the special educator will develop goals that are based on skills that the student with a disability needs to work on. So for example, students with autism sometimes don't say hello to the rest of the people in the band when they see them at the rehearsal. So one of the goals I know that one of the special educators wrote was that the musician will go around and personally say hello and ask how their weekend was of everybody in the group. And at Bridgeport, I had a great opportunity, which resulted as the shutdown during the pandemic at the University of Illinois. They needed to find a way to get their students enrolled in their special music education course to have some kind of opportunity to work with people with disabilities and to get that counted for their clinical credits that were required. So I worked with Abby Means, and we were able to develop some Zoom private lessons with each musician so that the Illinois students were able to have a meaningful experience, and my students were able to be able to focus more on what happens in the rehearsal and spend less time on learning parts and so forth. But what was really great was the musician got more attention and support, which we know that is very important. So at NYU, we're going to continue this, but what I'm hoping to do is to bring the NYU students to Bridgeport at the concert to meet their musician and to experience what we do. So I couldn't be more thrilled that Rachel Grimsby took my position at Illinois State, and she teaches this special music education course there expertly, I might add. And look at all the things that she includes in her syllabus. So I just really love how she spends time on disability categories, but she is able to cover these other very important things. And I am going to try to make some changes and do that myself. So her cool idea is the Scaffolded Assignments, where she has this list of different assignments that they are doing, and each one builds upon the one that comes before. And there's some really interesting things like building an assistive device and so forth. At Florida State University, Alice Andero, who is both a music therapist and has her degrees in music education, taught a course that combined the two, and undergraduates and graduates at Florida State. And she really didn't like it set up this way, but kind of had to make it work. And it doesn't really work very well because it's hard to find placements for them to do for their observations and internships and so forth. But what I really love that she does in her courses is media analysis. So she's really great about taking movies or television shows and looking at the characters that have disabilities and looking at whether they're being treated well by the people around them, whether they actually seem like they could have that disability, or are they just acting it, and in some cases not acting it right. So I've done this with my students, and they really like doing this and talking about it, and they end up spending a lot of time watching each other's movies and television shows. At Augustana College in Illinois, Jesse Rathgeber is there, and he found himself in a program that didn't have a special music education course, and he is somebody who can really teach that course well. So what do you do if you're Jesse and you have to cover material but there's no course? It's required by the state. So his cool idea, and this is something that he's got up on his website, is a Prezi that's called What's in a Label, and it was used in his Introduction to Music Education course at Arizona State University. But it's a wonderful way to see how he blends labeling into the course he taught. Warren Churchill's at NYU in Abu Dhabi, and he doesn't have a special music education course, but he teaches a course that's open to all students at the university there called Disabilities in Music Context. And look at the topics that he is able to cover. And being a musician with hearing loss, this is a course that really takes on a whole new level of meaning with Warren teaching it. His cool idea are self-initiated research projects where the student can dig deeper into social, cultural meanings and look for in a topic that they're interested in. Lynn Schreier Joiners at Keene University, where they have no course, but she was able to get the faculty together, and they planned all the music education courses and developed a uniform language and shared beliefs that then become part of what they do in music education. And I think that even if you do have a course, this is still a really good goal to have. So finally, Shirley Salmon's at the Orff Institute, she just recently retired, and she taught a really interesting 9-month-long course for graduate students called the Special Course. And it's actually the Advanced Studies in Music and Dance, but everybody knows it as a special course. And in this course, besides lots of assignments, she has lots of opportunities around Salzburg for her students to go observe and teach, but also for children to come to the Orff Institute for her students to teach. And the greatest thing about all of that is it's actually even more than a cool idea. It's a cool experience being in Salzburg, Austria, getting feedback from the wonderful Shirley Salmon, who is so knowledgeable about this and knowledgeable about how to best teach individuals with disabilities. And her feedback is just so wonderful. And to have been in that course was a real dream for a lot of the people that I met when I observed one of her courses that day. But we're running out of time, and so I hope that we can connect. If you have questions, if you find yourself in a job where you don't have a course and you want to talk through what ideas you could use, let's talk. Here's my email. And once again, thanks for joining me. And I hope you have a really great ISME. And let's hope in Helsinki in 2 years that we're all going to be sitting in the same room and enjoying meeting each other and hearing about what everybody does.